And speaking of Christmas, Princess Catherine made a surprise appearance on TV this week, narrating a promo video for her upcoming Together at Christmas program set to be aired on Christmas Eve. Here it is.
Join me this Christmas Eve for a special carol service to celebrate all those who've shown love, empathy and kindness in their communities this year.
Louise, the royal family are doing a raft of events in the lead up to Christmas, community events, charity events. What are the highlights?
Well, some of the highlights have been William was at Picton Barracks recently where he exchanged gifts and had some great fun with some children of the members of the military itself. And one of those kids actually drew a fantastic portrait of him on a post-it note of all things and handed it to William, who said, "Oh my God, looks like I've got about 5 nostrils," and sort of made a joke and made the child feel totally at ease. But then very nicely wrapped it up or sort of folded it up and popped it in his coat pocket, which I thought was a nice touch. Camilla, meanwhile, who we know has been quite unwell with pneumonia and a chest infection, did not stop her at all, because her and Charles, Christmas is very central to how they interact with the public.
Yes,
so there's always a big event. She hosted some children at Clarence House this week where they opened presents. They were terminally ill children as well. One of the charities, I believe, is the Royal Dale Foundation, which looks after children and their parents, and particularly tough at Christmas as well. But it didn't stop Camilla from, even though she's been poorly, she sat down and had bangers and mash with the kids. She put on a concert for the kids. So, yeah, it was wonderful. And really, when you see Charles and Camilla, that's their zone, when they're really making ordinary people feel comfortable at Christmas.
And I think potentially the headline of the year, and there have been some great royal headlines this year, but apparently there was a brawl at the Buckingham Palace Christmas party and a maid got arrested. I mean, that's just extraordinary. Can you tell us what happened?
It's like a road plot line out of the Crown, isn't it? So on Tuesday there was a 2 o'clock function for the royal household staff. About 50 servants had drinks. From all accounts, that went off without a hitch. They were all sort of probably nibbling their mince pies and having a sip of sherry, lots of decorum. Anyway, that descended. Whether that was too much, that sort of palace decorum, particularly for one maid, they all went to a wine bar called All Bar One around the corner of Victoria Street, a chain of wine bars, people all heaving like the rest of London at this time of year. 50 of them turned up. It was prearranged, but a big influx of royal staff in high spirits, already been sort of celebrating before that. And apparently one of the housemaids just decided to target one of the bar managers, tried to punch the bar manager, I believe, smashed some glasses. The bar manager tried to remonstrate or tried to obviously get the group in to calm her down. She was in very high spirits. And the police were called. She was arrested, drunk and disorderly, affray, attempted assault, I believe, amongst other things, taken away, put in a cell overnight, released with a fine, which I think, in the circumstances,
is probably getting away with it pretty well, I think.
Yes, but what we don't know, of course, is whether she's managed to keep her job, because household take a very dim view of staff going out and getting blind drunk and causing commotion when they're still technically on duty because they're representing the household.
So. Commotion is a pretty polite way to put it.
I love the fact that even they can't get good, reliable staff despite all their screening processes.
Yeah, no doubt. And then something like that still happens. No one saw that coming.
No.
We're going to have to ease up on the sherry for next year. Angela, the King, we understand he has been out this week with the CEO of Apple, Tim Cook. So what's this all about?
Look, I think this is really interesting. This is at Battersea Power Station. He was there. There were some markets outside. Then he went in and he saw a lot of people who are doing programs in AI. And I think this is what's super interesting about Charles. Even as he's, he's recently turned 75, he is still super interested in the world. His legacy, I was thinking that if you think about the death of Princess Diana, and she was branded the People's Princess, I think, of course, he'll be king when he dies, but the progressive prince. He is the man who has always stepped forward into situations, issues, things like multidisciplinary faith and acceptance of that, sustainability, agriculture, the environment, and, of course, AI and technology. He's really interested, and it's really set him apart, I think, from the late Queen, who was more, she was more old-fashioned, and I say that in a nice way. But Prince Charles had to distinguish himself, now King Charles, obviously, and I think he's done that admirably. But I also think this is super interesting because he's still trying to do new things all the time, and he's not prepared to say, I'm ill, look, I need to sit back. He's gone through his treatment, he's come to Australia, and the fact that he's come to he's looking at, as well as all the community things that he does, he's looking at corporate and commercial interests as well. Is very interesting.